Uh, yeah, welcome to the Mike and JD show. I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm joined as always by JD by God Oliva. How you doing, JD?
I'm all right, man. Solid. I read a book this week that I absolutely loved that I told you I was going to sell you on the show. So
Let's hear it.
I'm a comic book guy, right? Love comics, have since I was a kid. But I kind of fall in and out of the hobby, right? Sometimes I'm reading a bunch. Sometimes I'll go a couple years without reading any of them when I get tired of it. So DC I'm a DC kid at heart. Superman, Batman, that's that universe. So they had a series come out this summer called Absolute Power that I absolutely adored. It was great. Mark Waid back with DC. So they ended this whole thing with their universes kind of being splintered off, right? So they're starting a brand new universe in DC that everything can kind of start from issue one. So everyone kind of get on the ground floor, but they're kind of reinventing who these heroes are. So of course they launch with Absolute Batman #1. And this is a completely different Batman than anything you might have thought of. First of all, he is on this version of Batman is on all the steroids. He
Okay.
is a mountain of a man, and they don't say he's on steroids in the book, but if you were to look at him, you'd be like, this man looks like Brian Cage at 6'6".
Yeah. Yoked
Yoked
Batman.
Batman. Yes, exactly. Sean Tragedy knows stuff. This is the most yoked Batman I've ever seen. He also has the most overly yoked bat symbol you've ever seen. So this is a universe that is tainted, right? If you're into the comic lore, it's a universe that is influenced by Darkseid. That doesn't mean a damn thing if you read this book. So in this universe, Batman is not rich. He's just a
Okay.
guy. Bruce
Okay.
Wayne. Bruce Wayne, his father was a teacher, and they were on a school trip to the zoo, and there was essentially a school shooting. Thomas Wayne saved all these kids and died.
Well, at least he still dies. Like, I
He
don't want them
still
to
dies.
go too far
Oh,
from the story. Yeah.
he still dies, and Batman is an orphan, kind of. He's raised in kind of an orphanage, it sounds like, with a bunch of his villains, right? With Killer Croc, they mentioned specifically in this Penguin, Riddler, Catwoman. So those are like his childhood friends. And now there is a gang in Gotham City called the Party Animals. Something is up with these guys. We don't know what, but they're remarkably violent and they're killing people all over the place for fun, and no one can do a thing. Mayor Jim Gordon has tried to stop them. He has failed. This is a failure until there is a problem and Batman shows up and beats the ever living shit out of these this gangbangers. His ridiculous bat symbol turns out is an axe. He literally pulls an axe out of his chest and doesn't kill anyone, but he chops a lot of body parts up. And the whole time, Batman is being monitored by an assassin. And the assassin is supposed to take out this Batman, and he doesn't. And we find out the assassin's name is Alfred Pennyworth.
Oh, the butler.
The butler in the regular universe is a murderer, is an assassin in this one. And then we find out at the end of the book that Bruce Wayne's mother is actually still alive, and she's a social worker. And that's his weakness, as they say. And the book ends when you meet the overarching villain of the story, a man who takes things so seriously, a man who never smiles, a man who never laughs at anything, a man who cannot take a joke. And behind his back, his subordinates call him the Joker.
Well, we got a whole new Batman universe coming out with DC. Now, is Swerve Strickland in this comic? Because I heard that he's in some of these now.
It's possible. He hasn't
Okay.
shown up quite yet, but it is possible. Tony Storm did show up in some comic this week that I did not read.
Yeah.
Absolute Wonder Woman comes out next week, and then Absolute Superman comes out shortly after that. It's a reinvention of these superheroes. It's offshoot of the regular universe, and I honestly, it's probably my favorite book I read this year. It's so damn good. I loved it.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Highly recommend.
That's pretty exciting because I think we've had so many twists and turns on Batman over the years, and it's kind of like all in the same like lore. Even like the new Amazon Prime show that they did, where they just tried to make they just tried to make the villains more diverse. Like that was their whole thing. Like Penguin's a woman, you know what I mean? And like Harley Quinn is not from New York, doesn't have a New York accent. I believe she's an Asian lawyer.
Right?
Yeah. So doctor. So like they just tried to like kind of like do that whole thing. You know what I mean? And Amazon likes that stuff. So, but this, it's like they're kind of blowing everything up a little bit and just trying to make it the whole new deal.
It's starting from scratch. Batman's in his 20s, right? He's a kid, and he's just very, very angry. Right. And I like that. It's a different vibe to the universe. It's a more dangerous universe. And I highly recommend if you haven't read, if you are interested in reading comics and you don't know where to start, this is a great jumping on point because you don't know shit. There's no continuity. You can just jump right in. If you are looking to get back into comics, I highly recommend that. If you like comics as it is, our buddy Josiah messaged us about this, and he was a fan of it. And I had the book, and I waited about a week to read it, and I'm really glad that I did. It was freaking awesome, man. I loved it. It's going to be part of my collection from here on out. Can't wait to keep reading it. Highly recommend Absolute Batman.
That's cool, man. So it's October, and every October there's two things that I like to do. I like to go back and try to watch some horror movies that I have not ever seen before, or that I have not seen in forever, right? And so I've been watching some of those, and I like to go back and watch Halloween Havoc. So I've watched Halloween Havoc 89, 90, and then of course, because I had my column come out earlier this week, my Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, 30 years later column that I did. And I did a ton of research for that thing. So you fuckers, please go read it and tell me what you think. But that one was a long one that I did because I kind of went through. We did a podcast about it for Overtime earlier this week, but we didn't really go into a ton of detail about it. It was more just us giving our opinion of what Hogan was up to and what Flair was up to in '94 and all that stuff, and like an overview of what happened. But I actually went into the detail. I read the 1994 Observers, went through those, combed through those, got all the statistical and data on there, and I put it all in the article. So please go check that out. But yeah, I watched a few Halloween Havocs, and then of course I decided that I'm gonna get back into some horror movies, and I watched Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, It Chapter 2, the newest one.
What did you think of It Chapter 2?
I thought the first It, like of the first remake with the kids, I thought that one was better.
I agree.
I still liked this one.
I agree.
But I just found like Pennywise is the villain in it. But they never really confront him until like the end. You know what I mean? It's like he's just like a figment of their imagination. That was just kind of like, it's like, guys, just snap out of it. I just kept saying that, just fucking snap out of it. Like he's not there. Like, he's not there. So I kind of had that battle, but by the end of the movie, I was like hooked, and I thought it was a really good movie.
So that's the source material, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And the book bobs and weaves in and out of the kid and adult stuff.
Yes.
Both of the movies do it differently. They do all the kid stuff and they do all the adult stuff. But the actual book kind of bobs and weaves. So it's my favorite horror book, even though it has that one scene in it that's really weird.
Yeah. So but yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I started there's a trilogy on Netflix called oh god, I think it's called Fear Street. So I'm watching Fear Street 1994 right now. It looks like it's kind of a play on Scream, but they have 1994, 1978, and 1966, I think. So they did a trilogy movie set in different eras in the same town being haunted by the same witch. So I'm starting with 1994. That's the first movie. I'm gonna try. Hopefully, I'll try to finish that one tonight. I'll report back next week if I like those. Evil Dead 1. Here's my synopsis of Evil Dead 1. Okay, because I had not seen Evil Dead since I'm a teenager.
Oh, okay, go for it. I'm curious.
I had not seen the original Evil Dead since I'm like a teenager, and I kind of just saw it in passing. It wasn't really. I thought that was mostly. I enjoy the movie. I really like the movie. Don't get me wrong, but it was kind of a bad movie. But it was so bad it was awesome. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the charm. I felt like in Evil Dead 2, they purposely tried to make a bad movie to capture the charm of the first movie, and what they ended up doing was just ended up with a bad movie.
Oh, you don't like Evil Dead 2?
I don't like Evil Dead 2.
Really?
I honestly, I did not like it. Army of Darkness, I loved though. I thought they went full budget on Army of Darkness. I thought Bruce Campbell was hilarious. I thought I really liked the story. I liked everything about Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness rules. I got to show that to my kid. This is one of his first like horror movies I let him see. Dude, push the brace for debate button.
I don't have the brace for debate button anymore. Man. Sorry.
Brace for debate. Ding ding ding. So I love Evil Dead 2. I think Evil Dead 2 is what you do when you don't have, because Evil Dead 1, they're like trying to make a movie. Right?
They're trying to make a good movie. It just turns out but it's bad. But because like they were trying to make it good and it was so bad, it ended up being good, which is weird. Yeah.
But then here's the thing: is Evil Dead 2, they steer into the skid, right? And they start making, I think it's a good movie because they realize they can steer into comedy a little bit
Yeah.
more because they're all really good at comedy. And then there's part like I love the scene where Bruce Campbell's by himself playing off like the puppetry,
Yeah.
right? And he's just kind of going crazy. It's actually one of my favorite scenes in a horror movie, like of all time. I love Evil Dead 2. I think it fulfills the promise of what Evil Dead 1 should have been while giving us the cliffhanger that would be Army of Darkness. Wow,
Yeah.
that's shocking to me.
Yeah, I just found after a while I got annoyed with it. To be honest with you, I did, and I'm a Bruce Campbell fan. Like, hey, look, you're not going to get me to say a bad word about Briscoe County Jr. Like,
Oh, what a show!
Yeah, he ruled. Actually, I need to do a rewatch of that one coming up here soon.
Oh, Patreon.
Yeah, I'm on paternity leave, so I just need more shit to watch. So
we should do a Briscoe County Jr. thing for the Patreon. I don't know if anybody would want to do that besides you and I. So
yeah. No, nobody's gonna listen to that. Anyway, you guys. Sean Tragedy provides some context.
Oh, Sean Tragedy.
Fear Street is R.L. Stein. That is true. Fear Street is R.L. Stein, but it's more adultish than Goosebumps, clearly. So, yeah, I think the movies are rated R. So, I picked it up and then I was like, you know what? I don't have it in me tonight. I can't do another movie. So I just shut the iPad off and went to sleep. So, because I'm sleeping in the nursery. Wife has got both kids in the master bedroom. Dad's been kicked out to the nursery. Because all the son like, I'll be honest, all this kid does is sleep, eat, poop, and think about boobs all day. He's a real legend, if you ask me. But I have nothing that he wants. So I've been relegated to sleeping in the nursery with my computer and my iPad.
Yeah, you don't start bonding with the kid until he's like 3-4 months old, right? That's when you get to start spending some quality time with him. Like these first few months is just survival, him and the mom, and it's you're just kind of there. You're just there to help clean some diapers and provide moral support and be like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of I'm cooking like a lot of the meals. I made dinner tonight. I made dinner last night. I'm doing all that stuff, just trying to be as helpful as possible. But for the most part, I'm totally useless. So I'm just playing and watching Halloween Havocs and watching horror movies.